everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. I am Dr. Ashwati. Students, in this lecture, I am going to discuss about a very important concept in political theory, and that is postmodernism. You have studied about liberalism, socialism, Marxism, different types of theories are there as well as their different phases. But postmodernism is actually quite different from all such theories. In political theory, you often see two types of actually theories. One is called the rationalist theories, and second type of theories are called as the reflectivism or reflectivist theories. Okay, so postmodernism is part of the reflectivist theory. Like other political theory, like other concepts in political theory, here also we have to trace the origin, like where did it emerge, how did it emerge, and what are its principal tenets. So the first point here is that it was part of an experimental movement in Western architecture and cultural development. By the time of 60s and 70s, there was a new type of awakening was there. Especially it was observed in the field of art, architecture and literature, not in political science basically. It had influences over political science at a very later stage, but yes, the emergence of postmodernism can be traced to the Western architecture, art and literature. Now, it originated principally in continental Europe, specifically France. France is that country where we have seen the emergence of an idea called postmodernism, and it emerged with a kind of an idea, what we say that it criticized the modernity. So, we have to understand that why modernity? Why was modernity criticized? You may say that modernity is something which is the cultural realm of what we say. It is the cultural aspect about the Western civilization. We often call it like the ancient period. Yes, we do glorify ancient period. Then the chaotic period of the medieval times. Then after modern period that actually emerged with that of enlightenment ideas, renaissance, industrial revolution, and we have seen that three phases of capitalism, the mercantile capitalism followed by the industrial capitalism, then financial capitalism. All these things are like, it signifies the human progress. We have seen that this period or the modern period ushered into a kind of a period of technological advancements, greater like focus on how to make good life and good conduct, common good. All these things are products of the modern period. Then why did postmodernists question the modernity or modernism? This is a very important point. Modernism was characterized by universal values, belief in progress and objective truths derived from that of the Enlightenment. So, where was the problem? As you know that the Enlightenment ideas of Immanuel Kant and various other thinkers are there. But with modernity, it also entailed a very important feature, and that is called colonialism. Colonialism is also part of the modernity. As you know that colonialism is also associated with the idea of racialism, white man's burden, colonialism, imperialism. What it was a kind of a loot by the European countries over the southern hemisphere countries like Asia, Africa and Latin America. Many countries were deprived of their histories, they were deprived of their own cultural values and various other things are there. Ashish Nandi, who is a very important scholar from India, who said that like the colonialism had two stages. First was the physical capture of the territories and second one was the capturing our minds, the way we think. Then we have Deepesh Chakravarti's provincializing Europe. All these things actually identify that how colonialism in itself created a kind of a mess where we are deprived of our histories. Many countries are there like the aborigines and many like indigenous tribes were displaced from their lands by the colonial masters. So automatically the Enlightenment ideas, all these things were questioned. And postmodernism is actually like, it came to criticize the modernism because it was derived from the ideas of Enlightenment. And there's a one more important thing is that it questioned the grand narratives. Grand narrative, or what we call it as the claims of truth. Now, let's say that there are grand traditions and little traditions. Now, in some countries, you may say that, let's take an example from that of Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, they say that, okay, the country is inhabited by the Sinhalese population only, but there are many other people also living out there. What about the little tradition? So how can Sri Lanka or the dominant religion out there can, or the dominant language can create a kind of a unifying tendency out there? Because you have to take into consideration of the little traditions as well, the little cultural values. So in a sense, postmodernism also came to question the claims of truth, the grand narratives, or we call it as like, there are certain like theories which say that, okay, this is the ultimate truth, there is nothing beyond that. So all these things were criticized under postmodernism. Now, there are two major thinkers who are not postmodernists per se, but their works or their ideas influenced the postmodernist thinkers, and one among them was Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche's nihilism was also a very important part, because Nietzsche, he rejected all moral and political principles. In his genealogy of morals also, I remember, which I read long back during my masters. At that time, I have read that what is like, that how we create certain qualities associated with good and bad. Like, okay, good should be like this, bad should be like this, but in reality, its meanings change. When the context change, the meanings change. So you have to understand the changing meanings as well. But under rationalist theories or the grand narrative theories in political theory, what they do is like, okay, if they have accepted some 200 years back, okay, this is the perfect one, they keep on saying that that is the only perfect one, but they are not taking into consideration of the changing circumstances, changing needs, etc. But postmodernism actually questions them all. Now, here we have another thinker, and that is Martin Heidegger. This thinker and his works also generated a very great deal of influence upon the postmodernist writers as well. So we have Martin Heidegger, who was a German philosopher, and he is also precursor of postmodernism, and had a considerable impact upon the development of the theory called phenomenology, causation, as well as had a considerable impact upon the development of another theory called existentialism. Hannah Arendt, she was highly influenced by these theories, and the way she has, like, she took influence from these these theories as well. Now, moving ahead, postmodernism is actually anti-foundationalist. Now, when I talk about rationalism versus reflectivism, rationalist theories are actually foundational theories. Reflectivist theories are basically anti-foundational. Rationalist theories are actually positivist. These are post-positivist. Rationalist theories basically, they look into the aspect, they try to look at the trends and patterns. Here, they try to question it and whatever claims of truth, plus they also try to find a solution. So the work, Karl Marx work, the thesis on Feuerbach, the last thesis which was provided, like, it reflected the idea that, like, there are many scholars, they have interpreted the world, but they have not found a solution to it. Like, so here postmodernist ideas, or we can say that under reflectivism, like postmodernism is part of reflectivism. It is highly anti-foundational. They are post-positivist, plus it questions things like how it came about. Like, they are not explanatory theories, but they are more problem solving theories. They are solving that, they try to find a solution to the problems. Now here we have a very important political thinker called Jean-François Lyotard, not a political thinker specifically. He belongs to the realm of literature. He called the postmodernism, or like we can call it as an incredulity towards meta-narratives, the claims of truth. Basically, it questioned the claims of truth. Let's say that in the ongoing wars also that we see some, like, when the countries are warring with each other, they are engaged in war with each other, they all have their own narratives. But when you look closer at the war, when you look at the perpetrators of the war as well as at the victims, more on the side of the victims, we find that there are few victims, like, or some victims, they are not even part to the conflict itself, and they have got embroiled in it. So rather than looking at the grand narratives, we have to look at the little narratives or the little traditions. Now here, meta-narratives being universal theories of history that view society as a coherent totality. Let's say that there are certain theories. This was actually a big question by postmodernist feminists on the, and post-colonial feminists also question the liberal feminism, because liberal feminism, which was developed in the Western countries, they try to create a universal theory. According to them, they can be applied everywhere in the world. As you know that when you look at every other country, they have different culture patterns, different types of identities are there. So you cannot just blindly apply them. You have to take into consideration of the context matter as well. So Jean-François Lyotard, he is the person who actually coined the term postmodernism through his work, The Postmodern Condition. This work was published in 1979, and this is considered to be one of the most important revolutionary work written on postmodernism. Now we have some other major thinkers and books, and all these thinkers actually belong to that of the political science realm, and let's find out their names. Michael Foucault, he has written this work called Madness and Civilization. This was published in 1961. Then we have Jacques Derrida. Jacques Derrida is associated with the idea called deconstruction. It means that whatever you take as reality, you have to deconstruct the major components and identify what are its major points, as well as you have to search for the truth. So Derrida's concept of difference is also there, where he rejected the idea that there are fixed differences in language and allows for a constant sliding between the meanings, in that there are no polar opposites, etc. So he tried to create a kind of a way that through his deconstruction, he tried to search for the truth. And he has written the following books: Writing and Difference, published in 1967. He is also associated with the concept called double reading. And the other books, Margins of Philosophy 1972 and Spectres of Marx 1993. These are the important books associated with Jacques Derrida. Then we have Richard Rorty. He has published the following books: Philosophy and the Mirror of Nature, published in 1979. Consequences of Pragmatism, published in 1982, and the final book is Contingency, Irony and Solidarity, 1989. As you can see that there are many thinkers associated with postmodernism. They came to question the grand narratives. For them, knowledge is linked with that of power, and power is linked with that of knowledge. And by learning about postmodernism in your unit number 1, this is going to be beneficial for you people in the unit number 5 also, because postmodernism is an important approach in international relations theory as well, where you have to read the works by Richard Ashley, who has spoken about a very famous idea that the modern statecraft is mancraft. So that's all in this class, students. Stay tuned. See you in another lecture. Bye.